we will start our afternoon session with a presentation on world complexity, value, conflict, and human wisdoms in the global times by Professor Ouyang Kang from Ouyang University of Science and Technology, Wuhan, Hubei, in the People's Republic of China. Welcome, Professor.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a good pleasure and a special honor to have the chance to come to this beautiful country and to deliver a lecture. And firstly, I'd like to especially thank our friend and the host, especially for the Institute for the Value and Philosophy. They organized many conferences in different countries, different districts. And now I'm glad that we come to Africa, especially Kenya. This is my third time in Africa, but the fourth time in this country. I think it's really a very good experiences for me to learn something from this country and the African culture and philosophy. So I'd also like to thank our host for this university. We arrived 2-3 days ago and joined some activities, most important graduation activities. I directly come from Boston and we visited Yale and also Harvard University. They are also prepared something like this. I found that even though the different country has different history and culture, but now for the higher education we go together and we have the same format. We dress and have some ceremony. That's very good. Thank you very much. And thanks for giving me the chance to deliver a lecture. And especially I think the topic of this conference is very good. This morning we discussed the family value. You know that's important to the human being, for the individual, for the society, and for the world. And the value of the family actually changed or not. But why we still need to think that, you know, in China and in the West has different viewpoint to the family and its function in the history and today. So I think we put this kind of thing in a big background. That's the clash between modern and the traditional value in Africa or African values in the contemporary world. I think that gives us some very good idea and give us the chance to really think what can we do for the family. Actually, I noted that the day before yesterday we visited a village, that's the heritage park. We found that in this country, actually, in the past, the wife can have 2 or 3 or 5 wives. That's really give us idea to think, how can we define the family? How can we define the individuals in different family systems? I think that really need us to think. I prepared a paper for this conference, but not especially for this. I'm thinking this kind of things for a long time. That's the world complexity, value conflicts, and human wisdoms in the global time. Actually, for this topic, I think main keyword, 3 keywords. First is the complexity. Why the world is so complex? Because it is a value world. When we talk about value, actually, you may find that the most important characteristics of value is unusual. Because it's unusual, so you always find that the value is, same value is actually different with different groups, different people, different family, different society, or something. So, especially when we're in the global time, in the past, the difference is no problem. But now you may find that because we are in the global time, in the past we separately live there, but now we go together. So that's really give us some contradiction. We find the difference, but the difference is no problem, but the contradiction and the conflict and the struggle, even revolution, that's the problem for us. So I think we facing such kind of problem. The purpose is to try to find the ways to resolve such kind of problem. So while our world is facing various challenges and the great differences, what can we learn from the contemporary development and wisdoms in the world? Now, especially in Africa, and also for my personal background in China, I don't want to say anything about African culture because this is my second time. I may need time to learn more. But I'd like to talk something about the situation now. I think every person knows a very famous book that's A Tale of Two Cities. I really feel that to facing the modernization, globalization, and the family values, we needed to understand its contemporary meaning. Dickens told us it was the best of time, it was the worst of the time. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the reason of night. It was the season of the darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going directly to heaven. We were all going directly on other ways. So I think that really gave us some idea to think such kind of things. However, because of the time limitation, I cannot, I will just give some main idea about it. First is how complex value situation we are facing and why we have such kind of complexity situation. I think at least there are many elements, value elements that influence our world. First is the topic, that's the traditional and the modern value. All the country transferred from its own history, traditional, to modern, to future. So that's the very general contradiction. And the second one is the individual value and the social values. People can only live as an individual, but it should become a member of society. How can we combine these two? You know, individualism and collectivism, that's always the contradiction. The value of social equality and the efficiency value, especially in the economic development. You know, all the countries become richer, but the people have different situations. Someone become rich or richest, someone become poor and the poorest. Why we have such kind of division? And the distance, the gap become large and large. The fourth one is the economic value and the moral value, especially when the people ask for the economic development, they always ask for, we should develop us as quick as possible. But if it's moral activities, we have some precondition for the rational mind. That means all the people ask for the biggest benefit they want to get from the society, but how can you become a good man in the market social system? The next one is the universal values and the particular values. We always try to find some common values, especially when we, from the philosophical idea, from the globalization, from the modernization, they try to get the whole world as the same thing, become a world, one world. But can we see one people? No. That really gave us some very complex situation, and we have more. For example, freedom or conservative. Always in China, we also have such kind of contradiction. And we have also some others. So the third is, I took the situation in China. China may be the most multiple and complex society in the world. I don't know if you agree with this with me, but I tried to probe this kind of problem for a long time. When I stayed in US and in Europe and some other countries, we joined the World Congress and we talked the transfer from the traditional society to modern society, or even to the postmodern society. we find that China got almost every element from the world. Especially since 1978, we try to learn from the world. Different model, different country, different system, different culture. But now, how can we combine them together? So that really gave us the challenge to Chinese leaders and the Chinese people. First, we try to go into the Western modernization way. I think that's really challenges us. I personally think human being now is in a situation that's lack of wisdom. That means our wisdom is not enough for us to master the situation today in the world. So what can we learn from there? I think at least three things. First is the traditional wisdom and the contemporary wisdom. We should use the traditional and combine them with the contemporary, and the theoretical wisdom and the practical wisdom, and the complex thinking model. I always think this one is really important. The problem is, how can we get them together? You can see separately. So I think we have three ways. First, learn from our history. You know, Chinese history, we have a long history and they continued for a long time, but what can we learn from there? Here, I will mention at least four. The unity between sky and earth. That's the most philosophical viewpoint. And the meaning of the golden rule. That means you should don't too left, don't too right, don't too fast, but don't too slow. And the third one is the collective spirit and the family value. All people know Chinese culture tried very hard to preserve the value of the family. I think that really gave us the idea and the social harmony. The second one, we cannot only use traditional one. We still need to learn the rational element from all over the world, especially in the Western world. I think from the modernization and the globalization, we can learn a lot. I personally did some research about the world modernization. Now we have already at least 5 main models: European model, American model, former Soviet Union's model, Eastern Asian countries model, and the South American. Maybe I should add more, that's African model. Yes, how can we combine them together or learn the rational element from them? The last one is reform and innovation based on the actual needs and the practice. We really try to combine different resources, but the problem is, how can we combine them? Socialism with Chinese characteristics, modernization within Chinese root, and Marxism with Chinese characteristics, and everything should be based on China's or Kenya's own history and the contemporary situation. However, I think this is a process. It's a hard process. It's a long process. China is still on its developing way process. I come here for the friendship, for the academic exchange, and I also like to invite you to join us in December of this year. We will have a conference, international conference on the global governance and the international organizations. If you are interested, be in touch with me. You are welcome to visit us. Thank you very much for your attention.